What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Impact Wrestling review. Impact Wrestling was on last night. Obviously, it was a Tuesday night. Double upload yesterday, double upload today. I'm going to be talking about something a little bit later on. But for now, let's just crack on and go through the Impact results. I'll talk about it segment for segment. You've been here before, you know what I do. The show this week opened with World Champion Rich Swann coming to the ring, and Rich Swann grabs the mic. And he says, "Tommy Dreamer, I want you out here." Tommy Dreamer kind of comes out looking a bit confused, or all a little bit confused. And Swann says, "Tommy, you have been travelling the world. You've been in every single locker room. You've impacted every single person you've come across positively. No one has a bad thing to say about Tommy Dreamer. And what I want to do right now is extend an offer to you. On February 13th, we have No Surrender. That is your 50th birthday. I want to offer you a shot at my Impact World Championship." And Tommy Dreamer comes out and he's kind of, saying, "Thank you, but I don't really know if I should be getting it when Sami Callihan's music hit." Out comes Sami Callihan. And Sami Callihan says, "Look, I might have lost Barbed Wire Massacre, but surely I am in front of Tommy Dreamer for a shot at your World Championship." Then Chris Bay comes out. And Chris Bay says, "Look, February 13th is my birthday. And I'm only going to be 25. Tommy's going to be 50. I'm only going to be 25. So why don't we give the people what they want to see?" Because we do. Rich Swann, Chris Bay too. Then Moose comes out. Moose says, "I find it rich that everyone here wants a shot at a championship, but they're ducking the real world champion. And Rich Swann, you know that I'm next in line, so why are you giving Tommy Dreamer an opportunity?" The words go back and forth. Willie Mack comes out to even up the odds as a big brawl breaks out. That's him finally returned. The ICU sort of thing hits. Lights go out. Ken Shamrock's in the ring, and the heels lay waste to them all. Backstage, Dreamer, Rich Swann, and Willie Mack go to Scott D'Amore's office and demand a match with the three of them. And Scott D'Amore says, "Look, Impact Wrestling mathematician Scott Steiner, he's not here anymore. But that's 3-on-4. I don't know if I can book that in good faith, with a good conscience." And he says, "No, don't worry, we'll find someone." And Scott D'Amore goes, "To be honest, actually, if you're looking for someone, in ye's come." And then the three of them freak out. We don't know who it is, but we now know that they have a tag partner, and it's someone. The first match of the night was a tag team match pitting the team of Matt Cardona and Josh Alexander against Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. This was actually a really, really fun match. The match opened with Alexander and Fulton going back and forth. Obviously, Alexander the much bigger and stronger wrestler, but Fulton a lot quicker, or Austin a lot quicker. And they kept swapping out quick tags, Austin, Fulton, Austin, Fulton, Austin, Fulton. And Josh Alexander was getting worn down. There was a few early tags out to Cardona, but not a lot of Matt Cardona action, as it was mostly the opposition keeping Josh Alexander away from him. Eventually, Alexander was able to create some separation, and Cardona came in like a house of fire. At one point, he got a back body drop by Alexander up over the top rope. His own tag team partner just back body dropped him out the ring onto the other two. And in the end, Cardona and Alexander picked up the win in a very, very good match. I enjoyed it. It was a fun, maybe 6-8 minute match. The finish came when Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona went for the Radio Silence, formerly the Rough Rider, and Ace Austin popped him up and over, and as he came down, he hit the Radio Silence on Madman Fulton. Josh Alexander kept Austin away from breaking up the pin, and Cardona and Alexander picked up the win in a very good opening match. We then have a real heat promo backstage that's kind of shot over someone's shoulder. We don't see who that someone is, and we actually didn't find out last night. I don't think I turned it off before the show officially went off there, but I turned it off after the main event was won. And I don't think Rohit would have came out to insert himself in that, because he's still wholly focused on TJP, as was made clear by this promo. He's speaking to someone you can just see over the shoulders, so the camera sort of comes in around about here, over the shoulder. You can see Rohit, you can't see who that is. And he's saying, Scott D'Amore and TJP, they want to make fun of me, they want to mock me, they want to hold me down. Well, I'm not going to stand for it anymore. We're here, we've got a mission. I'm winning the X Division Championship back. And please just put it back on him. He was great. He was so good. Oh, he was so good. I love him. We then get our customary Tony Schiavone and Tony Khan paid advertising. At the start, Tony Khan goes, "I missed you last week, Tony, but obviously, I had to be here with Jerry Lynn. We're all here. AEW, we're all here. And tomorrow night, you can see all this." And they just had their back and forth bit of banter. It was fun. I mean, I'm really enjoying these paid ad slots. I think they're really fun and really entertaining. And the ad, Jesus, excuse me, they add another dimension to this, that even though there might not be a feud at every level of the card that is permeated with the Impact AEW stuff, it's always a reminder that it could be there. Because they're there every week, 1 week Ricky Starks might show up and take on TJP. 1 week Will Hobbs might show up and, you know, go after Eddie Edwards. You don't know. But them being there always reminds us that the threat of the crossover, the promise of crossover rather, is always there. And I really, really appreciate these spots every week. Matt Cardona and Josh Alexander are backstage celebrating their win when Brian Myers, obviously the former Kurt Hawkins and Matt Cardona's best friend and former tag team partner, walked past and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. You okay? You good?" And Myers completely just blanks him and he goes, "Look at you. You're coming in. You're another tag team guy. The two Genettis of the two teams teaming up. I see how it is. Anyway, I'm going to go and beat a former world champion in Eddie Edwards." Brian Myers then goes to the ring to wrestle Eddie Edwards, and this match was quite short. It was only around 7 minutes, and I think it was really good. It was really good up to a point. But Impact clearly don't want either man to lose, properly lose. Don't want either man to get pinned, don't want either man to submit. So this match kind of came about because Brian Myers got a thumb in the eye a couple of weeks ago, and they went to the trainer. He's like, "Look, my eye's all fucked up. Look." And then towards the end, Eddie Edwards loses his cool and just digs the thumb in Myers' eye and gets counted to 5 by the ref. And then he starts like biting his head. So, you know, I was thinking maybe after the Sami Callihan stuff was done, Eddie Edwards would go back to being like the sort of Noah, strong style, like Matt Classic wrestler that we know. But maybe now he's gone mental. So, I don't know. That was a weird one. We then go backstage and it's Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz, and they realise they've not sold enough tickets for Fire and Flava Fest. It's starting to look a little bit like Fire Fest, like the real Fire Festival. And Johnny Swinger walks past wearing a leopard print toga with a bunch of young attractive women. And they're trying to work out what they can do. And then Johnny Swinger just walks past, so they have an idea. Maybe they should get Swinger to come and bump the numbers up. We then have a promo with Matt Hardy and Private Party where it confirms that they will be taking on the Good Brothers at No Surrender. And Matt Hardy just kind of says, you know, sort of bams up the idea that he wants them to be the greatest tag team in the world. He wants them to win here. He wants them to win in AEW. They've got a match against Young Bucks coming up. They've got this match against Good Brothers coming up. He's really putting over how much he wants them to do and that he wants them to go on this, you know, world tour of global domination. And I don't know, Private Party kind of seem like faces in this. Obviously, they turned heel on AEW last week, but it still seems right in character. We just need to see if they're being faces on Impact. Because if so, that probably means it was a last minute decision to turn them heel, which I don't think it was, but I hope this works out good. I think the promo was fun anyway. Tenille Dashwood had a fun, quick match with Rosemary, which was one, you know, a nice bit of back and forth, but Rosemary did pick up the win, which I think, was it the right call? Tenille needs more wins. Tenille's really great. Obviously, Caleb with the K on the outside was being fantastic. And after the match then, you know, there wasn't much to report in that match. It was just a nice, good match to bridge a couple segments, essentially. AC Romero and Larry D were backstage, and Larry's angry now, even though he's out of jail, that Rosemary did all that to him. And then Crazy Steve and Rosemary come from behind and start winding them up. So they knock out Crazy Steve. And AC just looks at her and goes, "You're lucky we don't hit women," and they walk away. That was quite fun. I don't know what's going on here with this. I hope it works out well. Yeah. I like Triple XL though. I do. I think they're good. So, it's one of those things that I can't really see where it's going, and I don't really know where it can go, but who knows. We then see Fire and Flava follow Johnny Swinger to where he is. He's got a back room with the swingettes, as he calls them, serving drinks to Johnny Bravo and Fallah Bahh, who are playing poker, I think, and he's having a great time. And then they sort of tell him that not many people's coming to Fire and Flava Fest. And he goes, "Sucks to be you," and I love Johnny Swinger. I love him, and I want him to wrestle John Silver. I need it. Just one time. One match. Please, one match. I love him. I think he's great. But, you know, they all say they'll come. Except for Fallah. Fallah can't afford it. But the Swingettes are coming. They're going to serve drinks. They're going to serve the food. Johnny Swinger's coming, unfortunately. And Johnny Bravo's coming. But Fallah is not. Just before we get to the Fire and Flava Festival, Deonna Purrazzo, Kimberly, and Susan are all backstage, hanging out, talking about Hard to Kill and talking about the tag team win that was picked up last week, when Jordan and Jazz walk up. And Jazz just gets in their face. And then Jordan tries to say Susie to bring back the memories of Susie, but Susan's not having it. Susan's like that. "Listen, I'm Susan. Right, I don't know why I keep calling me the other names. I'm fucking Susan, alright? So you watch your lip yak out, and I'll wrestle you next week. So Susan is wrestling Jordan Grace next week, and I kind of want Jazz to wrestle Deonna Purrazzo. I love Jazz. I love Jazz. Oh, she's the best. Finally, we get Fire and Flavour Fest. And was it like Fire Fest? Was it not? It was a wee bit. We have MC Alicia Edwards. This was kind of cringy. I didn't like it. I thought it was really... it was unironic. No, I don't even know. It was funny, but not because it was meant to be. Like, it was meant to be funny, but it was funny because it was so unfunny, the stuff with Lish. I like Lish, I think she's great. But I don't know, she wore these big shades and talking, it was weird. Anyway, Fire and Flavour came out, boogieed their way to the ring. Johnny Swinger tried to hug them, get in the ring, and they just fucking ducked him. We're like, whose uncle is this? Because to be fair, whose uncle is this? They get in the ring and start cutting a promo, and then everyone's hungry, and they're like, oh, we'll give you the food. And give out little boxes of food, and there's still cheese in the wrapper. So yeah, they're just doing the same Fire Festival joke that AEW did at the first Fyter Fest. I think just because they got Fire and Flavour. It was still a fun segment. Then the Swingettes started giving out the champagne. Then Brandon Tall, the referee, realised that it all just kind of broke down quite quick. Before you knew it, Tasha was outside because the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man was there. And if you remember, Falaba, who wasn't allowed to come, wore the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man costume at Johnny Bravo and Rosemary's wedding on Halloween. And he's wore it a couple more times since. So they see that and they're like, Fala, you didn't pay for your ticket. You did not pay for your ticket. Come on, Tasha grabs the head off it, and it's Nevaeh. And in one of my unironically favourite moments of wrestling ever, they sell it like... Striker kind of sells it like Jericho taking the mask off in Japan, or like NWO Sting taking his mask off and it's real Sting, or any other time someone's been there and they're like, well, hey, Johnny Gargano did it to Ciampa. Right. And don't get me wrong, I love those spots, but Nevaeh was wearing a fucking Stay Puft Marshmallow Man costume, and it was so good. I loved it so much. He takes that off, then she kind of chases Tasha, and then Havoc kills Kiera in the ring, and they hightail it. And then Lish goes, the winners of the Fire and Flavour Fest are Havoc and Nevaeh, and Nevaeh's there celebrating in the Marshmallow Man costume. She's not taking it off. Oh, 10 out of 10. Goes from a weird segment, goes from like a meh segment, to the greatest segment of all time. I want to get a tattoo of Nevaeh and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Just like here, with like Striker's commentary. It was so good. It was the best thing I've ever seen in wrestling. We then go to a bar scene, and Chris Sabin's there, drinking Jesus Christ, that was a bit loud. He's drinking a beer, and James Storm kind of walks over, and they start having a few beers, and they're talking. They're just saying, look, private party and the Good Brothers, they think we're done, but look, I know we're not the Motorcycle Machine Guns, I know we're not Beer Money, but we're something that works. So I'm not done teaming up with you. Think you're done with me? Nah, okay, cool. And then they have a shot of whiskey because they're real men. And I actually really like the team of Chris Sabin and James Storm. I hope when Alex Shelley comes back, they just sort of run as a 3-man unit for a bit. I think that'd be really fun. Mainly because the Motorcycle Machine Guns are my favourite tag team of all time, and I don't want to see, and Alex Shelley's like my favourite wrestler of all time, so I don't want to see him put out because he's the best. But I think them two and Storm would be really, really great and really funny. You just get Storm's like cowboy hat, like I said, with a Teenage Bottle Rocket logo. After that little segment, we have the aftermath of Fire and Flavour Fest. Tasha and Kiera are backstage. They're not happy. And Brandon Tall walks over and asks for a refund. They're like, no refunds. They just slag him off really creatively. And it's fun. It was, another one of those sort of bridging segments, I imagine, it came on just after an ad break. Then we got the semi-main of the night, which was Big Joe Doring wrestling Cousin Jake. And he beat him quite convincingly. At one point, Jake did go over the top for his big dive, landed dodgy on his ankle, but it was okay. Got back in, a few more moves, and a big lariat that would make Stan Hansen wins. And Joe Doring picked up the win. After the match, Violent by Design got in the ring, started beating on Cousin Jake, put the chair on his ankle to Pillmanize him, but at the very last second, Eric Young stopped Joe Doring from jumping on his ankle. And I thought, surely this means Dana's going to do it. But it didn't. They just left him there with the chair around his ankle. As Eric Young says, this has a reason, this has a purpose. Everyone will see. And I'm so intrigued. Also, during Violent by Design's entrance, Matt Striker kept talking about the people in AEW and how, you know, he was putting it over from the point of view of an Impact personnel, saying, you know, AEW think they can come here. What if we sent Violent by Design to Jacksonville? I would love to see Joe Doring run through everyone. As soon as he said that, I was like, well, I would love to. I mean, I want to see Violent by Design versus the Dark Order. That's one thing I just need to see. Joe Doring and Hangman Page is one I need to see as well. But, man, Violent by Design could have so many good matches over there. And hopefully they send them over when they decide to retaliate fully. Main event time as Chris Bay, Moose, Sami Callihan and Ken Shamrock took on the team of Willie Mack, Rich Swann, Tommy Dreamer, why did I forget Tommy Dreamer there? And the returning Trey Miguel. Obviously, the Rascals left. Two of the Rascals are now in NXT. Wes Carter and... No, sorry. I nearly said Wes Carter and Nash Lee. No, it's Nash Carter and Wes Lee. Because one has 2 second names and one has 2 first names. Oh, anyway. They're great over there. They're doing really, really good stuff. That first match was fantastic. But Trey didn't sign because I think it was his sister had a baby very premature, and he took the time off instead of signing to just focus on his family. But I'm assuming now that he's back in wrestling, everything is resolved, and there might not have been a place for him in WWE because they've debuted MSK as a 2-man, so they brought him back. And yeah, it's a good match. I think Trey, you know, posted a photo on his Instagram and whoa, I know it's the angle, but that boy's looking buff. And it was a really, really fun match. It was your sort of typical TV main event. Everyone gets in, gets their spots done. Everyone hits their finishers. Everyone's, you know, hitting their finisher and getting up and turning into another finisher. And, you know, a really, really fun match. And eventually, Trey Miguel picked up the win over Sami Callihan after hitting a Hurricane Rana and clutching those legs like a veteran. Like I said, I turned it off shortly after the bell rung. There's only like a minute left on the Impact Plus video. So I don't think we found out who Rohit's mystery man is. But yeah, that was it for the show. I didn't talk a lot about the main event, but it was, you know, it was building all the feuds together. Everyone on each team was sort of feuding with everyone else. So everyone had a nice amount of interaction with each other, but no one got a severe amount of interaction with each other. It was a really fun match. And overall for the show, I would give it an 8. I think it was a nice, fun, good episode of the show. Some definite highlights of the main event. And Trey Miguel coming back. The intrigue with Rohit. Just a Chris Bay promo, obviously, is always great. And Vea dressed as the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I don't think anything on the show was particularly incredible, except for Nevaeh dressed as Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. But I don't think anything was really bad either. We're continuing to build Sabin and Storm. We're continuing to build Violent by Design. I just think it's a very, very good product to Impact have. And, you know, it makes me intrigued for next week to see Jordan wrestle Susan and hopefully find out who Rohit's big pal is. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Like I say, I will be back later on tonight with another video. Another sort of rambling video. I just want to talk about some things and get, you know, some feelings off my chest, I guess. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.